Welcome to the Gus Alva Perspective, a videocast that's earmarked to embrace abundance and gratitude over the opposite side of thinking about things, and that being one of scarcity and fear. The topic that I'd like to touch on today deals with something very mundane, but something that's applicable in all our lives, and that is patience. A very simple term, but sometimes we run out of patience in a very rapid manner. And so the important thing here is being intentional about how we approach things. Have you ever experienced an instance in which all of a sudden you were trying to get an idea across, and all of a sudden the individual that you were speaking with wasn't necessarily capturing what you were trying to state? And did you repeat yourself and then subsequently find yourself saying the same thing over and over? And then all of a sudden losing your cool and having some steam coming out of your ears, and all of a sudden feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm not being heard. I'm not being listened to. And I'm just really frustrated over what's going on right now. That's a relatively universal experience that all of us have experienced. And it's as easy as, trekking through every one of the routines that we're involved with on a daily basis. I think that we could probably all think about the fact that even this morning, we may have had some type of interaction, whether that be with our children, with our peers, with our colleagues, maybe with our parents, with our workmates, with our schoolmates, with whoever. And all of a sudden, we just felt like we were losing our cool. Now, what's the best approach in dealing when all of a sudden our patience is running low? Now, sometimes stepping back, counting to 10, and then responding upon whatever it is that we're about to respond, or whatever it is that we're about to elicit a response from someone else might not be a bad idea. That oftentimes will give us an opportunity of being able to collect our cool, collect our thoughts, and approach an instance or a situation in a better manner than otherwise would be the case. Now, I mention this because this is part of the byproduct associated with living in a very filled type of an environment, a society in which we are being yanked in so many different directions. And it's as easy as recalling maybe having a conversation with someone and stating something, and then all of a sudden becoming irritated over the fact that people aren't comprehending whatever it is that we're hoping to accomplish. It's an interesting thing here, but I'll utilize myself for an example. Oftentimes my wife will tell me, you should not lose your cool over things, because you sometimes forget about the fact that not everybody will have the same reference point that you're coming from. And it's probably a good idea for you to step back and consider what you're asking people to do. And I think that that's something that applies to all of us. We may think magically in our mind that whoever it is that we're speaking with has the same platform upon which we are operant from. And what that means is that if we expect somebody to have the same knowledge base as we have, our tolerance level is going to be short. It doesn't mean that we're dumbing people down or dumbing things down, but it's not a bad idea to take a step back and utilize the reference point of whoever it is that we're speaking with or trying to get an idea relayed across, that we try to step inside their shoes and actually walk a mile of whatever that journey might look like. And by utilizing that reference point, we might then subsequently have a bit more of a collective nature of being patient and not losing that patience. And as a consequence of that, not experiencing frustration and the possibility of anger. We sometimes see a lot of these effects spill over, particularly when we're out on the road. You might see people that are in a hurry, and in trying to get to wherever it is that they want to get to, they're all of a sudden feeling more anxious, and that anxiety that builds up inside of them then creates this lack of tolerance associated with things that maybe would not have been annoying to them, but now become exceedingly grating. And as a consequence of that, we see an explanation as to why sometimes people experience episodes of road rage. We've all seen depictions of that. There's some interesting movies, but also real world situations. I'm utilizing that as an example because a very famous actor, Jack Nicholson, in real life actually lost his cool in an instance where he was in the highway and actually banged somebody's windshield with a golf club. Um, that's something that would have come straight out of a movie, and I'm sure that we've seen that depicted in movies. But the reason I use this as an example is that it is something that could occur to anyone, and we sometimes utilize individuals in the public eye to be able to demonstrate certain themes that are applicable to all of us. The concept of patience, though, is one in which we all need to be keenly in tune with. We need to be truly aware of when it comes down to our children. If we've had a very busy day, a long day, and all of a sudden they're clamoring and asking for some involvement, whether it be reading a book, whether it be joining with a game, whether it be, doing a mutual activity, including maybe even watching some sort of show together, well, we should take that as the gift in which it's being presented. They are clamoring our attention because they want to be with us. We sometimes, however, run short of patience because, like I said, life can be complicated, can be very busy, and we might then subsequently lose our cool and say, whoa, would you mind stop bothering me right now? I just want to sit down and relax and collect my thoughts. And that simple action may actually have a detrimental effect on that child. The same thing happens with our significant others, our spouses. We may be having a very hectic day, and all of a sudden they're calling just to simply say hello and check in. And we might feel like we just don't have the time to be able to connect with that individual as we are heading so many different tasks that we feel overwhelmed. And in reality, we should take a step back and really ponder on that moment and say, you know what? This person, this individual that means the world to me is taking time out of their day right now to connect with me. And instead of looking at it as an annoying instance, we should look at it as the gift in which it is being presented. And that is that somebody cares for us sufficiently to actually check in with us. Sometimes we might lose our cool with our parents. And as people age, sometimes they become a little bit forgetful. And when you then badger somebody over not necessarily remembering something that, we've mentioned previously, that might actually be not only demoralizing for that person, it might also be insulting. And we sometimes don't pause to take a look at the consequence of our actions because we didn't have the patience to be able to approach the situation in a kind manner. Same thing happens, whether it be at our school, at work, our colleagues, the people that we surround ourselves with. Now remember, wherever it is that you are garnering your education or garnering your livelihood within that workspace, well, that space is sacrosanct. What that means is that that should be a safe place for you to feel innovative, to feel creative. And it's as easy as having one individual that is having a bad day to then create this domino effect where all of a sudden, things are being thrust out of order and we might lose our cool and we might lose our patience. But in those moments also, it's not a bad idea to step back, count to 10, recollect, breathe in deep, and then say, maybe we should be approaching this in this manner. Maybe the instructions that I've given previously should actually be being followed so that we are able to accomplish the goals that we are trying to get at. And this is something that is a concept that's readily carried across our lives in so many different spheres. And it's a concept that's relatively simple to forget. And sometimes part of the folly and part of the problems that we end up falling into is because we didn't have that patience. And just like that one song says, all we need is just a little bit of patience. It definitely does apply. The point I'm trying to get across is that a mindset of gratitude and abundance will always help us in being able to take that step back, breathe deep, count to 10, and then act, as opposed to what otherwise would be the case of acting out in such a manner that we come across as brash, as being insensitive, and as being uncaring of the people that truly care for us. And so that grateful mind will always help you so as to be able to settle back and think upon the fact that, geez, does this matter that much that I need to lose my cool or lose my patience about? I thank you for joining us on this segment, on this video cast of the Gus Alva Perspective. Thank you.